What's up, guys? Dev with DevRevs in the lab. Just redoing a video. I apologize. I had a 22-minute long video, and that's just not something I want to do. So this video is going to be on juices. It's meant to supplement the first getting started video that I did. If you haven't seen that, please definitely go watch that. But aside from that, let's talk a little bit about your juices. In that first video, we talk a little bit about just resistances, the kind of batteries you'll need, some clearomizers, things like that. But I wanted to kind of expand some information on the juices you'll want to get. So we talked about what nicotine content you may want, but there's a lot more to juices than you may be aware of. Just a personal recommendation, if you're just starting out and new to this, I would really suggest avoiding tobacco flavors. The reason I say that is when you're first starting a new thing like this, you don't really want to use a flavor that's going to remind you of something that you used to do. So this is a new phase in your life, you know what I mean? I would really suggest just avoid tobacco flavors for the first couple weeks. You may like them. There are some really good ones out there, but just for starting out, your first couple weeks, your taste buds are going to change a lot. You're not putting something that was making smoke that's actually very bad for your mouth, taking that into your body anymore. So your taste buds are going to kind of start to heal themselves. Your tastes are going to change a bit. A normal cigarette will likely change in flavor if you continue smoking while you're weaning yourself off, if that's your goal. They're likely going to start tasting a little bit different, like they did when you first started. So the reason I suggest stay away from them, just keep them out of your life for a little while. If you're still smoking normal cigarettes, it's totally fine. But if your goal is to just quit smoking, move on to something else. You've got many other options here. You've got fruity, sweet, and savory flavors. And what I mean by that, you literally have flavors from amaretto chocolate cheesecake to any kind of fruit or melon you can think of, right? Watermelon, cantaloupe, all sorts of stuff like that. There's strawberry, there's mints, there's like I said, the desserts, there's drink flavors. One's even flavored like absinthe, I found. There's tons and tons and tons of flavor options. So don't limit yourself. Don't limit yourself to something that's just one flavor that you've been doing for potentially decades of your life. Just my personal opinion. If you like them, I don't mean to offend, but for a new vapor starting out, definitely recommend just try something else. You know what I mean? Get a little creative. Give yourself some freedom for once. Aside from that, the throat hit. Let's talk about that. What is throat hit? Essentially, when you're dragging on a cigarette, you'll feel like when you inhale that, you'll feel that kind of tingle in the back of your throat, right? That's what I'm referring to when I say throat hit. Now, certain juices have more and less throat hit. This is dependent upon a couple of things. Throat hit mostly comes from the PG content of your juice, but also is contributed to by the nicotine content in your juice. So that's why I recommend those juices, or that nicotine content, I should say, in those first few videos that the recommendations I make in that first video. That's why I make those recommendations. You can kind of hone in a little bit closer to what may be exactly for you based off of the actual cigarette you smoke. You can go online and just type in your, in a search, just type in your cigarette brand name and then type nicotine content after it. It should tell you per cigarette how much nicotine content is in there. You'll have to do a little math to figure it out, but it should make it a little easier on you to figure out what exact content will likely work best for you if you don't want to just try different levels. Aside from that, PG and VG. What are I've said now that PG contributes to throat hit, but what are the pros and cons to PG and VG? So PG, propylene glycol. Essentially, pro and con to this is it carries flavor much better than vegetable glycerin, VG. It also carries throat hit, but it produces less vapor, right? So it's responsible for your throat hit, responsible for your flavor, that kind of explosion in your mouth flavor. Sorry for laughing. that immense flavor, if you will, and then but on the drawback to that, it produces less vapor. Now VG is less responsible for throat hit, does not carry flavor as well, and I'll use Dr. Evil quotations hands here. That's kind of subjective. I can see what people are saying. It's not an immense flavor rush, but the flavor is still there. I don't want to make it out to seem like it's just null and void flavor. It's still there. It's just not like PG. PG is very robust. VG it's just more of kind of like a a standard line of consistency for flavor for me. But VG also produces more vapor. So VG, less throat hit, less flavor, more vapor. Okay? I find most people that are looking for mostly VG juices may be using something like a mechanical mod or be doing what's known as sub-ohming. They're looking to get big vapor clouds, just enormous clouds, right? That's what people are referring to online as cloud chasing. So just keep that in mind. Most juices, they're a blend of both. You'll find mostly juices are a 50-50 blend. They're 50% propylene glycol, 50% vegetable glycerin, right? Obviously with your flavor and your nicotine mixed in there. I would suggest starting out with that at first. That gives you a nice baseline to just start out and figure out what you like. You can get an all PG juice or an all VG juice, but most people, I'd suggest starting with that 50-50. The reasons you may want to change that, they come in altering percentages. And the reason you might want to change that, some people have allergic reactions to either one. It's not everybody, and they're not horrible, life-threatening. Well, maybe I shouldn't say that. Hopefully, no one's had life-threatening reaction from propylene glycol or vegetable glycerin. But from everything I've read online, most people, what they get is just this it's this uncomfortable, itchy, just kind of almost sore feeling, I guess I would call it, from either one. Some people just react differently to things, you know what I mean? If this happens to you, it's likely the propylene glycol, but what you should do is start to trade off the levels of each juice. So, do like a 70% VG with a 30% PG rating, and then vape that, see how that works for you. And you can just keep changing those percentages until you find the one that works for you. Can't really help you figure out if you're gonna, if you're going to be allergic to something like this. It happens. If you're allergic to stuff, you know what this is like. You know what I mean? You eat something, and then there you go. You've got all these crazy symptoms. You have no idea what happened. Ta-da! You have an allergic reaction. Just something you kind of got to figure out. I don't want to frighten anybody off by any means, but just know it can happen. It's very uncommon, but it can happen. Aside from that, the flavors. Some flavors are bad for your equipment. They're not meant to be used in plastic clearomizers or basically, just that. They're not meant to be put in plastic, just plain and simple. The flavors I'm referring to, cinnamons, Mountain Dews, bananas, wintergreens, some colas. I mean, there are multiple different flavors out there that could potentially burst a plastic tank. Now, I don't want to make it sound like the thing's going to blow up, it's going to explode in a million pieces, but it'll crack the tank and potentially cause a leak of juice everywhere. Your vendor should know which juices are going to have this issue, or the website you're buying from. Normally they come with a little disclaimer either on the bottle or just on the website that says this juice has been known to cause damage to plastic tanks, which means you need to use it in something like a glass tank, right? Just something to be aware of. Just keep an eye out. There are many flavors that will do this, but also some ingredients will cause this as well. I'll try and find a list to put down in the description, see if I can't get something together that has a list of juices that could potentially cause this issue. Just something to keep in mind. Aside from that, what else can we talk about on juices? I think that's it, really. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and call that good, honestly. If you have any questions for me, definitely let me know. Hit me up at just private message me or leave a comment below. Just want to say thanks everybody for the support, and hopefully soon I'll be getting the reviews out and on the way. So yeah, hope you're having a good weekend, and enjoy. Thanks for watching.